Bang! It's official. We're under 24 hours until draft day, baby. I know it's a very exciting time. I'm very excited myself. Shit, I'm only going to probably work a half day tomorrow. I'm so pumped up. Whoo! So in the spirit, I thought, hey, it'd be fun. Let's check out a sleeper video. Maybe there's some people on there that we haven't heard of or haven't seen. They were like, who the fuck is that? I thought it might be cool to check out. Before we do that, though, I want to show some love to the broski. Everyone needs to go check out his website, roaddogdesigns.com. It's got some fly-ass shit, man. Look at this. This is currently what I'm rocking. Get in there and get it now. He's already got stuff selling out. Go check that out. Support the bro. He's the man. Show him some love. That was not a paid endorsement. I had to buy this shirt. I had to pay for it, all right? So with that said, let's check this video out, huh? God, I am pumped. I'm fucking excited for the draft. Every year, doesn't matter. Just get all tingly. Inevitably, I will fail and I will lose. It's still fun, though. I mean, it's still a good time, regardless. So let's see here. Let's go check this video out, huh?
What's fantasy football without sleep?
Yeah,
right?
son.
These are the guys you love to draft, the
I
ones
might need
you
some
can't
headphones.
wait to
Hold on.
see take off
Can't
during
hear
the
shit.
season. And there are a lot of potential sleepers, but here are our top 10 must-have sleepers.
Top
If you
10.
can't wait to start drafting fantasy football teams, you don't have to. Underdog Fantasy has drafts going on all offseason with tons of unique and fun formats. Not to mention their flagship Best Ball Mania 5, where one lucky winner will become a millionaire. Plus, they already have pick'em lines ready for week 1 of the NFL season, and their new streak
That would be
format
dope, though,
where you
hitting $1 million
can
bucks
win
for playing
1,000
FFB.
times your entry. Just go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up using promo code ENDGAME to get a special pick'em that you can't get anywhere else, plus up to $250 in bonus cash.
Shout out,
All right,
Underdog.
Chris, who's first on your list?
I'm really coming around more and more on Rico Dowdle of the Cowboys. Look, a prominent beat writer for the Cowboys is saying he looks like the face of the committee, meaning like he's
see about
kind of
that.
the lead back in what may be a committee here. But what I really like, even if it is a committee, is he's also saying he's looking good in pass protection, and he's getting high leverage situations like goal line carries in practice. So my worry when they signed Zeke, I know a lot of people thought when the Cowboys signed Zeke, like,
Look, I'm a homer. Duh. I want him to do well. But there's 3 backs in that backfield, and then also Deuce. Deuce is there too. So I think that's one of those backfields. It's like, who do you take? Ooh, God.
oh, that's it. Zeke is the RB1 here. I wasn't so sure about that, but I did worry that Zeke could be the goal line back. But if Rico
He will be.
Dowdle is going to get goal line carries, not to mention what he can do in the passing game, and if he's able to pass block, meaning he doesn't have to come out on third downs, there's a clear path here for Rico Dowdle being the #1 running back for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is still going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL, one of the best offenses for fantasy. They're going to run a ton of plays. They're going to be on the field a lot. They're going to have plenty
Damn,
of
those
chances
jerseys
to
look
score.
good, don't they?
So I'm really starting to get
Damn,
the feeling
son.
that Rico Dowdle, not only is he a tremendous sleeper, but he literally could have league-winning potential if he is
Thanksgiving
indeed
throwbacks
the
are fucking
true
tough.
RB1 in Dallas, and it's sounding more and more likely that he is.
And that's how I feel about Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. You might want to ask,
Damn, that was pretty quick.
If you're like most people, draft day can
We
be
were barely in
painless.
before we got hit with a
You
fucking
have
ad.
A bunch of tabs open.
I'm not
each
paying
one
for
with
it.
Different tools
I
and
refuse to pay
charts.
for it.
starting running back for the Bengals?
So I pay for YouTube
Well,
TV.
you know, just
Does that
the other day
make
they said that
YouTube
Zach Moss
premium
is
free?
listed as the starting running back
Probably
for
not.
the Bengals. And who cares? I mean, does it really matter? Again, we're early in training camp. We haven't even gotten close to preseason action in terms of meaningful game
Fuck,
action.
I am
and
excited.
preseason
I cannot
doesn't
fucking
matter
wait
that
for
much
tomorrow.
anyways. But here's
God
what Chase
damn, it's
Brown
like
has
Christmas.
gotten is not just hype from the media.
I got
and
too much
from
time on my
fantasy
hands.
football
I don't know what to do
community,
with
but
myself.
from his head coach, Zach Taylor. But here's what I like about what Taylor said. It's not just, oh, yeah, he's got some juice.
Since
and,
he's
you know,
legit,
he has
come on.
burst. We already know he's fast, right? This guy with an 89th percentile speed score. But he said that he has been consistent and dependable, and he even talked up his role in pass protection. That's huge. The fact that he says he likes that he's been consistent, he isn't making mistakes.
Where'd Mixon go?
That's what you want to see, that the coach
Is it Houston?
trusts him. Because Moss
Houston,
is
right?
the veteran here. Chase Brown entering year 2. Brown, we know is going to have a role. It might be bigger than we expect. It's not going to be come in on occasion and try to break a big run. I think this is a true 50-50 timeshare between these two, and I expect Brown to not only pull away, but also I want the guy who's more explosive, the guy who will make big plays, the guy who's more of a natural pass catcher. I like Brown's role in this offense. And look, there's room for both of these guys to feed. With Joe Mixon gone, that vacates 257 rush attempts and not to mention 64 targets in the passing game. Both these guys will have fantasy value, but I like Brown's upside.
Are you guys like me? Whenever somebody has cabinets or shelves in the background, you try to eyeball what the hell they're looking at. Like, those are some pretty sweet giant chess pieces. Hey, I respect the Brothers Cross right there. Hey, man, he is the one king. God, I need to fix my shit up. It's just my ugly ass, boring background on my fucking bachelor pad here. Maybe I'll work on that. We'll see.
Much more. All right, time for some must-have tight end sleepers.
Tight ends.
Yes,
Here we
always
go.
fun drafting those late round tight ends, and I really like Jake Ferguson this year. When you look at last year, he
Fergie, he's not a
finishes as tight end
sleeper?
9. Like, okay, that
Fergie
that was
ain't no
great
sleeper.
considering he wasn't even drafted last year, but it could have been much better. Sam Laporta, who was a tight end 1, led all tight ends last year with 10 touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, he had 5. Why do I bring this up? Because even though he had half the amount of touchdowns as Sam Laporta, he finished with the most red zone targets of any tight end last year. He could have had significantly more. Had he
Sick
scored
photo.
10 touchdowns last year like Sam Laporta? No, he wouldn't have been the tight end 1, but he would have been the tight end 5 on the
Fergie.
season. I think he can get to that mark this year. This is a Cowboys offense that's still going to lean on the passing game. Mike McCarthy's still calling plays. They're still going to get tons of red zone chances, and they did nothing to improve this passing room to take targets away from Jake Ferguson. In fact, they did less than nothing. Guys left, and no one came in to really replace them. So if Jake Ferguson gets that kind of red zone usage again, or even more red zone usage, don't be surprised if this is a guy that reaches double-digit touchdowns this year and is an absolute steal in fantasy drafts, once again, going outside the top 100 picks. So if you don't get an early tight end, I'm fine just punting, waiting, and getting Ferguson late in your draft.
I've never really
I've got a
drafted well
tight
on
end I
tight
think is
ends.
going too late as well.
I'm like retarded
David
when it comes to
Njoku
drafting
was,
tight ends.
down the stretch, one of the best
I don't
tight ends
know.
for fantasy, and it's like people don't care. He's still barely being drafted inside the top 10 tight ends, despite coming off a year where he had
He's always
81
hurt, though, right?
catches,
Doesn't he get fucking banged up
882
every
yards,
season?
and 6 touchdowns, and there's room for more. Now, here's the thing with Njoku. First half of the season was really disappointing. I mean, this whole Cleveland offense was kind of disappointing. Let's
Well,
face
that's
it.
kind of
But
Deshaun
then
Watson's
from
fault,
week
isn't it?
on, you know, after that point, he caught fire. Literally, I mean, he actually did catch fire, and like a trooper, he went out
Oh,
there.
that's
and
cold-blooded. That's
performed,
right. He fucking
and then
burned off
he
his
was
face,
just
right?
A guy that you couldn't stop on the field. Now, a lot of people will point to Joe Flacco and give him all the credit. And sure, Joe Flacco does deserve some props for what he did, but it's
Fucking
deeper
Flacco's
than
the
that.
man, dude.
It's this offense. What they did was they just passed.
They
the
flew
ball a
Flacco
lot,
in on
and not
coach, too.
because they saw
Isn't
Joe
that
Flacco
fucking
and they said,
cold-blooded?
"Hey,
Put his
you're
ass
just
in
gonna
first class."
single-handedly win the game. It's because the running game was not effective. Nick Chubb out, and that's not going to change this year. Nick Chubb will come back at some point.
God,
but
his
not
sick-ass photo,
anytime
man.
Early in the season. Look, this is an offense that
It's for the
wants
grunt.
to pass the ball. They were 5th last year in neutral situation pass rate. And with new offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey, name you might remember, they brought him in to try to mix things up, pick up the tempo, which is interesting because already last year, this is an offense that led the NFL in plays per game, and they want more plays. They want to run a fast-paced offense, and they want to throw the ball a lot, and they want to let Deshaun Watson throw the ball a lot. And
Does
look,
penalties count
as
in
bad as
for
Watson was
plays
last
per
year, there's
game?
no mistake, he
Redoing
wasn't
downs
great,
and all that kind
and
of stuff, I
Flacco
wonder.
was actually pretty good. I still think they see Watson as the better option, which is why he's the starting quarterback and Flacco's somewhere else. David Njoku will be a major weapon for a team that's gonna pass the ball a ton.
Your father knows
Damn,
about
son.
saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot
Don't care. I'm not paying for it.
And I just
He's one of the most talented tight ends out there. He's finally reaching his potential. So I'm all over a potential top 5 fantasy tight end that you can get much later. All right, now into some veteran receivers with upside.
Here we go.
Yeah, I guess Rashid Shaheed is a veteran entering year 3 here, but I love
Sleeper?
Rashid Shaheed this year in this Saints offense. Look at it last year. I've talked about it.
Oh,
but
what,
less
'cause
than
Olave, maybe?
50% of the snaps still
And
finished
Tomas?
with 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. And over his first 2 years, he's averaged 17.4 yards per reception and 15.6 yards per reception. This is the kind of late round flyer I like to take, a guy that has big play upside every time he's on the field, because you don't necessarily want to count on this guy getting a ton of volume, but when he does get the
know what?
volume,
I take that
you want
back.
it to
I guess
pay off
sleeper-
in a big way. And I do think
Yeah, it
we
does
could
make
see
sense.
more volume this year as well. Remember, Michael Thomas is gone. Rashid Shaheed is going to almost certainly be the number 2 wide receiver in 2 wide receiver sets, which means we could see him be playing 70, 80% of the snaps this year. Wouldn't shock me at all if he comes close to 1,000 yards, close to double-digit touchdowns. And I actually really like the Saints passing game going into this year. I've talked about this as well. Last year, they ranked dead last in pre-snap motion and play action.
dead
One of
last.
an offense that was complete vanilla. But
You
now
won't be
they've
dead
brought
last
in
in any
new
stat
OC
on
Clint
offense.
Kubiak. They're going to run more play action. They're going to run more pre-snap
Unless it's like most
motion.
turnovers.
I've talked about it before. Those two things, when they're put together, even when just one of them on a play, passer ratings go up significantly. I think this passing offense is going to surprise a lot of people. I love Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is going to smash, but don't sleep on Rashid Shaheed late. I think he can also be very good in this offense.
Or you might not even realize that Jalen Tolbert is entering year 3, maybe ready for a year 3 breakout. It's probably because you probably
He's not.
forgot that Jalen Tolbert's still in the NFL.
He's
Unless
not.
you're a Cowboys
He's
fan.
not ready.
Let's be honest, he's done nothing his
Nothing.
first couple of seasons, right?
Nothing.
Not too much. He flashed a little bit at times last year, did have 49 yards and a touchdown against Philadelphia, but, then kind of disappeared. Wasn't called on, routinely as a target. He's going to have to step up this year because really after CeeDee Lamb, who, by the way, is still holding out, and
He's going
Brandon
to play.
Cooks,
Get the fuck out of here.
there's really not much else there, and Jalen Tolbert needs to step up, and guess what? So far, it looks like he is. In training camp, he's been drawing a lot of praise from all the usual media types and beat reporters, but also, most importantly, his quarterback, Dak Prescott, who says he's gained a lot of trust. In fact, he has a super high level of trust and confidence in Tolbert, and it's not just, QB propping up his young receiver. It's showing on the field. He's going to him over and over again.
He's had time
So maybe Lamb,
to pop.
vying for his new contract is helping Tolbert to finally gain confidence in himself and break out. Remember that the Cowboys last year, one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the league, 8th in pass attempts, 3rd in passing yards. And I don't see that changing. In fact, they probably would have to pass the ball even more this year because their running game is going to be even worse. And so I want a piece of that offense if possible. You talked about Jake Ferguson.
I don't believe it's going to be worse. I think the run game is actually going to flourish. It's going to be committee. It's going to be committee with a bunch of dogs. Absolute dogs. Pounding the rock. Granted, we did lose some pretty key offensive lineman situation going on. Come on, Dak. Figure it out. Figure it out, buddy. Figure it out.
Great pick at tight end. But if you want to go deep and look for a sleeper at wide receiver, don't forget about Jalen Tolbert.
Do you want to win your fantasy league but don't have time to do all the research? Are you tired of drafting mediocre teams and then having to constantly hope you hit it big on the waiver wire just to compete? Do you wish you could have a fantasy expert like Pierre or myself with you while you draft? Well, now you can. With our app Draft Lane and our live draft pilot, we will guide you through every pick of your draft and tell you exactly which players we
Holy
would pick if
shit.
we were on the clock. Our proprietary
Imagine
algorithm will take into account
you're not
your
even
league
drafting
settings,
then. You're not
scoring,
even
and
drafting.
roster requirements to identify the best picks every time you are on the clock to ensure you have a winning
What's the
team
point?
from week 1. It's the closest thing you can get to having us there drafting with you. Get the biggest edge in fantasy football. Just go to your app store and search for Draft Lane and download it today
Well,
and get ready
hey,
to
shout out these
dominate
guys.
your draft.
All
Shout-
we need
shout
more
'em
running
out, huh?
backs in the mix here. Who's a name you have in mind that you can get late?
Yeah, I'm really coming around on Tyjae Spears this year. Talk about another offense that's
Yeah,
gonna look
Tyjae
drastically
Spears, he's on my
different than
list.
What we saw last year, that's the Tennessee Titans. Brought in the offense coordinator from the Cincinnati Bengals, Brian Callahan, to be the new head coach.
Callahan.
Upgraded the weapons here, right? Brought in Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, who we had in Cincinnati. They still have D-Hop. If he's healthy, we'll see. Also signed Tony Pollard here. And, of course, Tyjae Spears still there. But I like Spears more
Yeah.
than Pollard this year. When you look at these guys last year,
Pollard's the
Spears
man.
was just much, much better
It
than
sucks
Pollard.
we lost him.
Spears ranked 9th in targets, 6th in yards per touch, and 5th in yards created per touch. Meanwhile, Pollard, 11th in targets, 44th in yards per touch, and 37th in yards created per touch. I just think Tyjae Spears has a level of juice that Tony Pollard doesn't have. And maybe
Son of a bitch.
Internet from T-Mobile. Now Mesh boosts Wi-Fi
Maybe it's to start the season. It's a 1A, 1B situation.
Damn, man, I might bite the
Maybe
bullet and just
Pollard
fucking
is
pay for fucking
technically
YouTube
the lead
Premium.
back to start the year. But I think eventually Tyjae Spears is going to take over. He's just going to show more explosiveness, more ability, more productivity than Pollard, and he's the guy I want in this backfield. And
I don't
in
know
this
about more
offense that, again,
productivity
I
than
think is going to surprise
Pollard.
a lot of people. I'm not super excited about what Tyjae Spears is going to do on the ground necessarily. It's what he's going to do through the air. I think he's going to be great in the passing game, and this is an offense that's going to surprise people. So if I'm drafting late and Tyjae Spears is still on the board, I'm absolutely grabbing him.
And that brings to mind a rookie running back that I can't get enough of late, and that's Kimani Vidal.
Damn
The
it.
Chargers. Who's going to be the lead back
Damn it.
for the
He was
Chargers
on my
right
list
now?
too.
It looks
Fuck.
like it's probably going to be Gus Edwards. And I love me some Gus Bus. I know
Gus
you do
don't
too,
play
Chris.
17
This
games.
is a player who's going to score touchdowns and do a lot on the ground, probably be the lead back to start the season. But what is Gus not going to do? He's not going to catch passes. And I can guarantee you that. And you might even be buying into the J.K. Dobbins hype. Fine. Maybe he actually stays healthy. Maybe he looks great. He's not catching passes either. Neither of these guys have shown that they are even willing or able to do that on a regular basis in the NFL. And the facts just bear this out. In his brief NFL career, J.K. Dobbins, 24 games he's actually played, he has a total of 27 receptions. All right, barely one per game. Gus Edwards
Total
has played
27
69
receptions for his
games in the
career?
NFL, and he has 30 receptions. Okay, this is not what these guys do. And if you want to look at the PFF grades, Gus Edwards really low in terms of receiving grade and pass blocking. He's not going to be out there on third downs, and I don't think
Damn, they
Dobbins
just
is
took a
either. So who
Dump
does
on
that?
his chest, huh?
Maybe that's why they drafted Kimani Vidal, because this is something he can do, and he can also be an effective runner. He piled up yards at Troy. He's also an effective receiver, and I think they see that skill set that could eventually translate into a 3-down back, which, look, Gus and J.K. Dobbins obviously have had their share of injuries, so don't be surprised if at some point this season it's all Vidal and you have a guy who could be a league winner on your hands. All right, Chris, give me one more sleeper that you've just got to have this year.
I think you got to have Jerome Ford this year. It's very rare you can get a team's clear RB1 and like a good team, right? Not like a terrible, bottom 5 offensive team in the very late rounds, but you can get that with Jerome Ford. Look, Nick Chubb on PUP, probably going to start the season on PUP, and when he ever comes back, he's going to be very limited when he does. I mean, this is how it works with ACL guys. They are limited to start the year when they come back. So let's say Nick Chubb misses half the season. Then he comes back. He's going to be limited for 5, 6, 7 games. I mean, by then, fantasy season's basically over. And look, that's assuming he even gets back close to 100%. Jerome Ford is likely going to be the guy here in this Browns offense. And even though he wasn't as good as we hoped for last year when he took over for Nick Chubb, he was...
Nick Chubb's name I totally forgot about. Absolutely forgot about. And the Browns, I mean, the Browns themselves, what an interesting situation they have going on there, right? Especially in that division. That division could be an absolute bloodbath. Jerome Ford, nice.
Still pretty good. I mean, despite only getting 50% of the opportunities, he's still ranked 14th in targets, had 9 touchdowns, and he averaged almost 12.5 fantasy points per game. This year, he should get closer to 60, 65% of the opportunities, and you talked about it with head coach Kevin Stefanski. One of the fastest offenses. They run the most snaps of anybody. In fact, last year, they led the entire league in plays per game. 2 years ago, they were 6th in plays per game. More plays means more opportunities, means more touches, means more fantasy points. Jerome Ford going so late in drafts, I don't know if people are just worried because he wasn't great last year. They think Nick Chubb is coming back. I'm not sure the reason, but Jerome Ford feels like an absolute must pick in the later rounds.
All right, my last pick is somebody that I've just now come around on. Sometimes this happens. You don't want to be in on a guy, and then you realize you probably should be. Well, this is not a shiny new toy, but Curtis Samuel is new to the Buffalo Bills offense, and I think he's being undervalued.
Curtis Samuel's been a
I don't just
fucking
wanna flat
weapon
out say
wherever
that
he's at.
anybody in that Bills offense,
He's a weapon.
is
He's an
gonna be a
absolute
league
fucking
winner,
weapon.
Great sleeper or
But
anything.
he's never
because
been the
that's just not
guy.
true,
He's
right?
never been
You have
the
to have
guy.
the right role. You're going to have to be used properly, and I think Curtis Samuel is, because he's now reunited with his former offensive coordinator from Carolina days, Joe Brady. Now, when Joe Brady and Curtis Samuel were together in 2020, that's right, Cam Newton was still the quarterback there. And in that time,
Man, I'll tell you. They talk about like the pundits and especially like professionals, like the people that get to do this for a living. They like to talk about windows closing. Is the Bills' windows closed? Is the window closed? I don't think you can say a window is closed if you've never even sniffed the Super Bowl. Like, see? Now, they have Josh Allen. I think their window's open as long as Allen is fucking Allen. I think they're just going to be fine. Windows shut. No, I don't see that at all. In the AFC, it's so fucked up because the fucking Chiefs, they're just so goddamn dominant. Absolute dominance. Burrow and the Bengals are healthy. The Bengals are a fucking motherfucker. Baltimore, Houston has emerged as a fucking squad. Jacksonville could surprise. No. Take that back. Take that back. No. The horseshoe, though, watch out. The Colts might do something in the AFC. And then if Rodgers stays upright all year, stays healthy, the Jets are a fucking problem. Miami's a goddamn problem. I wouldn't want to be in that conference. That conference is just loaded with killers. Absolute killers. It's going to be interesting to see. God, I'm so fucking excited. We're getting close. We're getting so close. Okay, I got to relax a little bit here. I'm getting all fucking jacked up.
Curtis Samuel was the second leading receiver on that team, even though DJ Moore was on the roster. Believe it or not, the number one receiver for that team was Robbie Chosen Anderson. Remember, he had that 1 year? That was the year.
He had one.
Not just that he was
He had one.
the team with 77 receptions. Curtis Samuel also carried the ball 41 times. This is something that we didn't see enough of in Washington. And let's face it, his days in Washington were really disappointing because not only was he coming off some severe injuries his first year there, it was a bad offense. Curtis Samuel might finally get back to being used the way he was used when he was great for fantasy football back in his early days. It's easy to forget, too, that Curtis Samuel, although it feels like he's been around forever, he's only 27 years old. I mean, this guy should still have.
Damn, he does feel like he's been around for like fucking 15 years.
I don't see Keon Coleman being an alpha
Washington,
receiver
Carolina, and now here.
And so Curtis Samuel definitely has a chance to carve out a big role. I still think Dalton Kincaid winds up leading that team in receiving. I think Curtis Samuel is next, and he's going to get some rushing opportunities.
That's right, because Diggs is gone.
We know that there's 160
and Gabe Davis is gone too, right?
Stephon Diggs. That leaves a pretty good chunk to be distributed among the rest of those receivers. Curtis Samuel is not the most exciting name on draft day, but he could wind up being a steal. Now you know our 10 favorite sleepers on draft day.
All right.
What about just the top 10 must-have? Period.
All right.
Well, here you go.
Shout out to those guys. It was a good video. Man. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fucking fun, boys and gal. 23 hours, 36 minutes. I got to be good today. I can't party today. I got to take care of my shit so that way I can start my workday nice and early. Get up like 6 a.m. Puts me home about 2 p.m., baby. Gives me 3 hours to prep and pregame. Now, I sent you guys the Discord link, I don't know how many times, right? We're going to be in there live during the draft. Myself, VP of Ops. I know Carl has the link. He's probably going to be in there. If you guys have any questions and you don't know how to do it, just let me know before the draft. And I can get you guys in the room with us, and we can all be there live together hanging out during the draft. I'm going to record our draft, but I'm also probably going to cover up the chat just in case. I don't want anybody to get themselves in trouble, and I don't want anybody to get in trouble either. You know, that's not what this is about. I want it to be free flowing. You can say whatever the fuck you want. We're freedom of speech here, and you know that. Oh, God. So, draft tomorrow. Oh, fuck. College football starts Saturday. Oh, fuck. This is exciting. We're going to have football every week from now until like mid-February. Every week there's a game. Jesus. Oh, hope you guys are ready. Well, hey, this is it for this one. I'm coming back. I'll probably have some more coming. Adios, motherfuckers.